There is a specific kind of workplace situation where no response is the correct response. If you defend yourself, you are defensive. If you stay silent, you are cold. If you explain calmly, you are condescending. If you apologize, you have confirmed the accusation. If you ask what the accusation actually is, you are deflecting. Every possible move has been labeled before you make it. Every door has a tag already glued to it. That is not bad luck. That is the signature of a boss who has stopped managing you directly and has outsourced the work to the rest of the office. Welcome to Marcus vs. the Machine. Most people think a toxic boss is just one difficult person, but the worst ones are not a person, they are an arrangement. Without ever putting it in a slide deck, they have built an operating system of enablers, informants, careful climbers, and nervous onlookers whose daily function is to enforce the boss's version of reality. In abuse recovery language, these enablers are called flying monkeys. You don't have to like the term, but you have to notice when the people around you have started doing the dirty work your boss used to do themselves. Today, we are decoding the network, how it turns your coworkers against you, and exactly how to outsmart it. Direct domination is risky for a manipulative boss. If they scream, they look unhinged, and HR gets involved. If they punish you in writing, they leave fingerprints a lawyer could read. What they need is a system that produces personal retaliation without producing evidence. A network provides plausible deniability because the boss never has to deliver the blow. It provides surveillance because the people around you begin reporting back on your tone, your expressions, and your lunchroom comments. And it provides narrative control because a concern repeated by 6 different mouths stops being a rumor and starts being a consensus. The punishment arrives socially first and procedurally later. None of this works without a staff, and most of the staff have no idea they are being used. They fall into specific roles. First, the true believer. They have absorbed the boss's version of reality with real conviction. When they repeat a smear about you, it has weight because it sounds like independent analysis. The career climber sees the boss clearly and decides it does not matter. They laugh at the joke about you. They know their promotion runs through the boss, and they have calculated that loyalty is scored continuously. One is sincere, the other is calculated, but to you, the damage is identical. Then there is the moral rescuer. This is the role most targets meet first and misread for the longest. The rescuer approaches you with apparent warmth. They say, "People have been talking," or "I'm just a little worried about how you're coming across lately." The rescuer is rarely working for the boss on purpose. They actually feel concern for you. But every frustration you hand them, every defense you make, every honest word you say, will be fed right back upstream to the boss within 48 hours. The coworker who feels safest to vent to is often the one you can least afford to be honest with, because vulnerability is currency, and currency gets spent. Next, the gossip courier, who lives for information and distributes the boss's strategic leaks under the cover of having a chatty personality. And finally, the silent majority, the fearful subordinates. They see what is happening, but they find something on their screen when you walk past. The central mechanism running underneath all of this is triangulation. The boss does not bring concerns to you. The boss carries concerns about you to other people. Each of those people now holds a version of the story and begins to act on it, and the conversation has been happening in your name without you. By the time you enter any room, the story has been in there ahead of you. This is why the instinct to argue stops working. You cannot out-argue a description of you that was written in a room you were never invited to. The weapon they use to build this story is the smear framed as concern. The boss almost never says you are incompetent. The boss says they are worried about you. They wonder if you are burning out. They say they are hearing things from the team and aren't sure how to handle them. The accusation lands as atmosphere. Once 3 or 4 people are carrying this atmospheric concern, the story starts confirming itself. Sensing something is off, you become slightly guarded. Your guardedness is cited as evidence that you are withdrawn. Sensing you are being watched, you become slightly performative. Your performance is cited as evidence that you are erratic. The network does not need you to do anything wrong. It only needs you to react. They will offer you small provocations, a slightly unfair criticism, a public correction in a meeting, a comment calibrated to get under your skin. The bait looks like an argument. It is actually a prompt. The reaction it produces is the deliverable. If you get defensive, they have footage of you being difficult. If you send a long, emotional email at 11 p.m. to explain yourself, they forward it to HR as proof of your instability. The purpose is not to resolve the conflict. The purpose is to keep producing footage. So what is your counter playbook? How do you survive a room that has already agreed upon your guilt? First, you stop supplying the raw material. You implement the gray rock method. You become as uninteresting and unreactive as a stone. What you feel and what you show must become 2 entirely separate operations. When a colleague takes credit for your idea, you do not crack. When a manager drops a passive-aggressive comment, you do not flinch. You offer flat, boring, professional neutrality. The network runs on your emotional exhaust. When you cut off the supply, the system starves. Second, you stop defending your character and start defending the timeline. When you are accused of a vague failure, do not say, "That's unfair, I worked so hard." Say, "Let us walk through the sequence of events. The request came in on Monday, the data arrived on Wednesday, and the delay occurred while pending your approval." Character defense sounds emotional and guilty. Timeline reconstruction sounds controlled, credible, and impossible to manipulate. Third, recognize that you cannot out-trust an extraction network. Do not process your workplace trauma with the people still inside the workplace. Keep your written communication incredibly dry and brief, because anything interesting you write will be quoted out of context. Anything candid is already a document in a file you haven't been shown. Finally, run the exit arithmetic before the role becomes your identity. The most dangerous part of this network is what it does to your own head. You start to rewrite your own emails 4 times. You start apologizing for asking normal questions. You lose your trust in your own perception of reality. Do not spend 5 years trying to prove your innocence to an organization that benefits from your guilt. The people treating you this way are running a survival calculation. They have realized that standing close to you is professionally expensive, so they are stepping back. They are learning that calibration pays and courage does not. Your goal is no longer to make them understand you. Your goal is to become impossible to bait, expensive to misrepresent, and prepared to leave on your own terms with your record clean and your sanity intact. Become impossible to bait. Your gray rock stance is your first line of defense. Become expensive to misrepresent. Your paper trail is your second line of defense. Prepare to leave on your own terms. Your external network and exit options are your third line of defense. Stop trying to out-argue a rigged room and start learning how to dismantle their leverage. If you want to master the unwritten rules of corporate America and survive the machine, hit subscribe. This is Marcus vs. the Machine. Stay sharp.